So let's start with the first thing, that is your history of auditing. As you can see now, auditing, this word audit, is come from a Latin word audire. Audire, which means to hear. Now you will be thinking auditing is checking, examining. We have discussed that. But what is it? Auditing is come from the word audire, to hear. What is hearing got to do with your auditing? Right? So that is obviously going to come to our mind. So let me tell you now, the answer to this question lies in the history of auditing. History means we are talking about centuries and centuries ago, the time when there were kings and kingdoms. What used to happen that time? So the king, okay, used to obviously be collecting taxes from the people, and he was kind of answerable to them, like where has he used the money, what has happened with the money, etc. So what used to happen in those times, in that kingdom, in those kingdoms, what used to happen is they used to have these kind of assemblies, or all the people used to come together, okay, and the kingdom used to come and they used to have these kind of meetings or assemblies, you call them. And what used to happen that time is the king used to be sitting on the throne. There would be one person who would be the accountant, who would be actually shouting the accounts in front of all the people who are there, just to shout loudly, okay, so this much amount was collected, it was spent from here, spent from the national treasure, that was the national treasure, the king's treasure. From there it has gone here, it has been spent here, etc., etc. So there used to be the king, there used to be this person who used to shout, there used to be the entire kingdom who was hearing all these things, okay. I don't know to what extent they would be understanding those things, that's a different story. But there would be one more person who would be standing in one corner, and he used to listen to all these things. And then he used to cross question the accountant. Okay, you said you spent here, where did you exactly spend, how much did you exactly collect? So he used to question him, and then the person used to answer, okay. And then the person who would be hearing all these things, okay, the questions, or rather the answers, the statements which he was making, okay, and then after all of it was over, then he used to give his opinion, saying that, okay, I feel by hearing all this that things are okay, things are fine. So this person who used to hear and form his opinion was the one who was called the auditor. So this was the first origination when auditing really happened. Not exactly by checking, examining, but by questioning and listening to the answers. And that's exactly what is the origin of this word, audire. Okay, but of course now that was like years and years ago, so there is no way that it is going to happen in today's world. Can you even imagine a scenario, you're going to the client's office and you are sitting across the table, I am the client, you are the auditor, and I tell you, hey auditor, come on, listen to what I say, and based on that you form your opinion and give me. You think that's going to be possible? Come on, it's much over all that. We are just over all those things, but still the word audit has come from there only. So this is what we call as the word audire. It's a Latin word which means to hear. Even today's context, what happens is when you're doing audit and you come across queries, questions, problems, you definitely ask them. You ask the management, you ask the owners about it, and you get the answers. Here also to some extent we are hearing them out, okay? So that's how auditing the word is. Anyways, for me what is more important is the definition of audit, the meaning of audit, okay. So now we get into the definition and meaning of audit. What is the technical definition of audit? So what is audit? Now we would need your highlighters here, okay. Whatever I highlight, same thing you highlight. Whatever I write, same thing you write. Whatever I don't write, I only say at times some examples, and all those also you should write. So basically you keep writing small things in your the notes itself, and big things which are there, which I will be writing with you, those you will be writing in your notebook, okay. But small things like highlighting or writing examples, meanings, you can do it here itself, okay. Now what is auditing? Auditing is an independent examination. So technical words have started. Independent examination means what? First of all, examination means what? Examinations means basically checking. Hmm? Checking of what? Financial information. Financial information means what? It includes your books of accounts, your trial balance, your balance sheet, your P&L, your bills, vouchers which are there. Everything which is there, you will be checking that. Okay? But how will you be checking? Independent examination. So here comes my first technical word, for which I have a separate discussion in the chapter. Okay, now this is the first chapter. Okay, we are doing the first cluster, first coverage of topics. So I'm not telling you the 5 clusters which are there in the chapter. Let me take you at least through one cluster totally, and then I'll tell you the next one. Okay, so independent examination is one concept we are going to be learning little later in the chapter, full big concept. But today I need the basic meaning. So when I say independent, the first thing that comes to your mind is what? Independent word. Independent India, right? Free country. That should come to your mind first. Your right to independence is right to have freedom. This is what is examination. We should be totally free to examine the way we want it. We should not be biased by anyone. We should not be influenced or pressured by anyone. And whatever work I do it by myself. Totally the way I want it, the way when I want it, the way how I want it. So independent basically means that being unbiased, uninfluenced, and not pressured. Okay, totally when you're examining, you have to be independent. Your independence is here in the mind. Your independence is the way you are working. Very simple example I will give you here now. It's, let's say you have qualified, become a chartered accountant. Okay, lots and lots of hard work, you have become a CA, obviously you party, you are happy, everything is done, set, you open a new office, you have a big opening. Okay, nice opening ceremony of the office you did, and now you sit for doing what? For getting clients, right? So you're waiting. Now you're a new chartered accountant, so you're not getting many clients immediately. Okay, so then you go to your father and you say, Papa, I am not getting too many audits, please give me your audit. So dad says, okay, fine. Okay, obviously he has got his own chartered accountant for years and all, but you're the son or the daughter, so he says, okay, fine, take it. Now you take your dad's work and you start checking it. When you're examining the work, you're checking the financials, you see that dad has done some tax chori. Correct? He has not paid some tax, or he has done something wrong, or you can see some kind of fraud. Some personal expenditure has been put into business as a business expenditure, and you see that. And you go and tell dad, what is this you have done wrong? Dad says, keep quiet. You're like, Arey, but this is wrong. He's like, okay, let it be. I'm doing it for years and years. Then you feel, but I'm a chartered accountant. I should be independent. No, Papa, this is wrong. You should not do like this. Do like this. Do like that. He will give you one tight slap. Keep quiet. Then you tell him, but I am a chartered accountant. And he says, but hold on. I am a chartered accountant's dad. So don't teach me things. And here, your independence down the drain. Nobody is bothered about it now, right? So in this scenario, what do you observe? That no matter how much you would want to be independent and show your independence in front of your dad, show how great a chartered accountant you have become, you are end of the day going to be his son or daughter only, and you cannot object too much or fight too much with him. But same thing, if another client comes to you with the same mistake, you can shout at him, you can tell him this is wrong. That kind of attitude is where you are independent. Totally what you want to do, you're able to do it. This scenario could not do it. Another example I will give you here. Let's say you are having shares in a company. Reliance Industries, you are having shares. And you have been called to do the audit of that Reliance company. Now, being a shareholder, somewhere you are already having interest in that company. So you cannot be totally, objective. You will be little biased, because end of the day, you are also one of the owners of the company. How will you be able to do the audit independently? Not possible. So this will not be an independent examination. One more example I can give you here is, there is a partnership firm with 4 partners. 3 partners are working partners, 1 partner is a dormant partner, a sleeping partner, and he wants that the audit needs to be done. So A, B, C, D, 4 partners, D is the dormant partner. So A says, no problem, we will get the audit done. My wife is a chartered accountant, I'll tell her to do the audit. You think B, C, D will agree? No. They will say, no, your wife will be little biased. Why? Because she's your wife end of the day. If you're doing something wrong, she will not point it out to the others. And therefore, you cannot be independent where your relative is having interest in the business. See, it's all normal, common sense. You cannot be independent here. You will be bothered. You will be biased. Okay. So, when I talk about audit, the first thing that comes to my mind is independent. That attitude of not giving a damn. I don't give a damn. I don't bother about anything. You can't influence me. If you act too smart, I can leave the audit. If you have that attitude, you are independent. And if you don't have it, my dear, you are compromising and you can't be a good auditor. Last and the final example for this I will give you is you have just become a CA, remember? Dad's work has come to you, remember? All that dad gave you one tight slap and you forgot your independence, over. Now, same thing what happens is you get the audit of Reliance Industries Limited. Imagine. Imagination does not cost you anything. So Mr. Mukesh Ambani is sending someone to you. Come on, let's do your audit. You come and do our Reliance Industries audit. And you are like in seventh heaven. Wow, would you want to do this audit? Of course, yes. Why not? I would love to do this audit, right? But do you think you can be independent in this scenario? You think so? Not at all. It is such a big giant and you're just a newbie, you're just a new chartered accountant. They can easily make you do wrong things. And you cannot afford to lose such a big client, right? They can pressurize you. They can actually, if anybody will see the name of big four, you know, the big four CA firms that we have, PwC, ENY, we have KPMG, and we have Deloitte. So if Deloitte is doing the audit and a person sees that Deloitte is doing the audit of Reliance, he will feel good enough because Deloitte is a big company, Reliance is a big company. They are doing the audit. Deloitte is a big name and Reliance is a big company. So you are doing the name. We don't think that Deloitte can be pressured because of Reliance. But same thing if they see a new CA who nobody has heard the name of, and you know that person doing the audit, their possibility of what may come, thought may come that this person would not be independent. And you cannot be. Definitely you can't be in this scenario because you need that work. It's a big audit for you and they can easily pressurize you. So you are not independent. Understood? So to be independent, you should be free of all these kind of things. Then you can examine what? Financial info. Financial info of who? Of any entity. That any entity could be profit oriented or not. Means it could be a company profit oriented, a partnership firm profit oriented, not profit oriented, section 25 company not profit oriented, or you could have your trust which is not profit oriented. Are you writing examples, right? So profit oriented could be a company, a firm. Non profit oriented could be a trust. Any of them. Irrespective of its size or legal form. Small business, big business, no problem. Individual, partnership firm, LLP, company, trust, cooperative society, AOP, anyone. Corporate, everything, all of these. Any legal form, does not matter. Any entity's audit you're doing. Okay. So see, an independent examination of what? Financial information. Financial information includes what? Your books of accounts, your evidences, right? The supportings of the transactions which have happened, then your financial statements, all of it will be there. Irrespective of its size or legal form, irrespective of its whether it's profit oriented or not, any entity. But why are you doing audit? What are you doing this for? You are doing this examination with a view to express an opinion. So what is your work? What is your job as an auditor? To give your opinion. Very important word. You are going to give your opinion. What is an opinion? Opinion is what I feel. Okay. I as a chartered accountant feel this about the financials. So I am going to give my opinion on this. Okay. Now one thing will come to my mind. Why am I giving an opinion? Why can't I just say, yes, this is fine, this is true and correct, this is okay? No, I say this is true and fair. So I have coming to a new word now called true and fair. So when I talk about true, true means obviously which is a fact, which has happened, which is there. There is no bogus element. There is nothing fictitious you have created. It is happened. It is true. Okay, that is one. And secondly, when things happen, they should be shown properly. So you're showing them properly is showing them fairly. Okay. Now, if I ask you a simple question, is weighted average a better method, or is FIFO a better accounting policy? Can you give me the answer by black or white, right or wrong? Can you say that? No. You will say it depends on the business, right? Both are allowed methods as per my AS2. Both are fine. Depends on the business which will be a better method, which is appropriate in that given circumstance. So I can't say that weighted average is correct and this is wrong, but I can say fair. Yes, in this business, weighted average is fairly, properly showing the inventory, showing the cost of goods sold. So in that scenario, I would be feeling what? That it is fair in this given situation. So no right, wrong, good, normal, proper, fine, acceptable is true and fair. So I give my opinion with, according to me, I feel this is fine. Okay. Now, if you tomorrow decide as an article, I want to give my opinion, who is going to listen to your opinion? Nobody is bothered about your opinion. This opinion is important because this opinion is given by a chartered accountant who has been trained to give the opinion, who has been learning all auditing, who has applied all the principles taught to him, and then he is doing this audit. So his opinion has got some weightage, remember. Anybody can come and give opinion. So this opinion is given by a chartered accountant, and that's why people respect that balance sheet, because it is signed by a CA. And people have got faith in that, right? So you have got, let's say, a balance sheet, normal balance sheet, which is there. Okay, this balance sheet has been signed by a CA. Definitely you will rely more on this, correct, rather than a balance sheet which has just been prepared, no signature of a CA. You will rely more on this. Yes, your confidence will increase. Reliance is more, confidence is better, right or no? You will have more faith in this, correct? Why? Because it's signed by a CA. Who is CA? RACA Institute, right? Who is trained so much, who has got so much of respect in today's world. So yes, signed by a CA. Because of all this has happened. Your reliance, your confidence, your faith in this has increased, and therefore I say that the assurance is there in this balance sheet. Just this balance sheet, what is there? Nothing. There is no confidence I'll have it. Nobody has, you can make anything now. Who is there to check? But the moment CA has signed, yes, it gives me a certain faith and an assurance. So now this is the second part of your subject, auditing and assurance, right? What is auditing I'm seeing, but I'm also getting into the next part, which is assurance. The increase in the level of confidence of your people who use this financials. That's what I call assurance. And auditor is the one, when he signs, he gives you kind of assurance. Yes, these financials are properly made. In my opinion, they have been done properly. They are showing the true and fair view. That's what you do. Okay. So coming back to the point, what is the definition of auditing saying? First, it is an independent examination. Independent, not influenced, not biased, not pressured, totally independent, free to give your opinion. So it's an independent examination of financial information of any entity, whether profit oriented or not, irrespective of its size or legal form, when it is done with a view to express an opinion. But opinion on what? On the true and fair view of the financials. So this is my basic definition of audit. And when you see the definition, 3 points I have highlighted in this. Independent examination, which is the elements in audit. Any audit will have 3 important elements. Independence, right? You have to give an opinion, and your opinion will have authority only when you are objective. Objective means unbiased. Straightforward. Okay, you should be free from any interest which will detract your objectivity. Don't be having any interest. Like we took example of partnership firm, we took example of Reliance Industries coming for your audit, we took example of relative, we took example of your dad's audit, right? So all of it would be coming here. Independence is the first thing. Second, you're only giving an opinion. Only an opinion, remember. This is what you're giving, an opinion. And your opinion, remember, is going to be an opinion on the FS examen. This is not a fact. This is only an opinion. What is the difference between a fact and an opinion? A fact is what I say, yes, this is the only thing. An opinion is what I feel, according to me, this is the thing. So what is the difference? They both seem the same. So fact means when I tell you a fact that they have followed FIFO method. This is a fact. They are doing FIFO. But is the FIFO method appropriately applied? Have they calculated the inventory properly? Is it proper in the given business? If yes, then in my opinion, this is a proper method. So fact is they are using FIFO, and the opinion is that whether it is appropriate in this given business. Okay, so auditor always gives opinion, right? Opinion on the thing. I don't give just the facts. I say yes, appropriate policies they are following. Okay, so that's what opinion and fact. An auditor, remember, gives an opinion. I can never give facts because this is not what I have made. The facts have been presented by the management. Management are the one who are making the financial statements. They make the balance sheet, P&L, the cash flow, the books of accounts, everything made by management. So how can I tell you that this is a fact? I can only say in my opinion this is fine. It's properly presented. This is what the auditor is. Gives an opinion. And thirdly is I give my opinion mainly on what? Financial statements. So financial statements mainly include what? Financial statement means your balance sheet, your statement of P&L, SOPL as we call it. Correct or no? We have your cash flow, we have your notes to accounts, and we have your statement of changes in equity. So before going ahead, you will see in my page 3, here comes my financial statements. So this is what I say, when we are learning, we could be changing the order of the things so that we can learn better. The moment I said FS, the first thing should be what FS? So FS includes, as per section 2 subsection 40 of the Companies Act, financial statements include balance sheet to show a financial position, your P&L, statement of P&L to show the profit or loss for the period, cash flow statement to show inflow outflow of cash and cash equivalents, your notes to accounts, which is a major big part of your financial statements, and lastly statement of changes in equity. So your reserves and your share capital, how they have gone up, down, what has changes which have occurred, you will be showing in SOCE. So this comes under your financial statements. I hope this is clear. So 5 things, section 2 subsection 40 is this. Now going further, so we have seen the basic definition of auditing. We have learned that auditing is derived from the word audire, which means to hear. This is a Latin word. We saw the basic definition of audit, and we saw that auditing mainly has 3 elements in it. Which are 3 elements? Oh, small technique to remember. 3 elements, right? The 3 elements of auditing, we call it IAF. Independence, auditor's opinion, and financial statements. So these are the 3 basic elements in an audit. So I hope the basic definition is clear. But it doesn't end here, okay? No doubt this is your main definition. But at the same time, we have got general guidelines of internal audit issued by ICAI. And their auditing is defined in a slightly different way. So our original auditing definition, which we just saw right now, is a slightly narrow definition of audit because it talks only about financial audit. whereas auditing could be of different nature. So my second definition comes now. Okay, your exam oriented is the first definition. That's why I marked it with 3 stars. This second definition is knowledge oriented. Okay, and sometimes the institute can ask you like define auditing or give both the definitions of audit, so you should know it. But the main, if they ask you only define audit, you just give the first definition and you're sorted. Now the second one, what is auditing? Now as per the definition, auditing is an independent, though it was always, now it is also a systematic and independent examination. So not just independent but also systematic way of checking. Now when you go for doing an audit, will you directly go to the balance sheet and do the balance sheet audit, sign it and finish? No, you will systematically go through the books of accounts, the trial balance, the adjustments. You will be seeing the bills, the vouchers, the invoices, right? All the things you will be checking, and then you will be giving your opinion on financials. FS is the last step. Okay, if you want to reach the FS, you have to go through all these stages, and then you can say FS is true and fair, because then this has been made based on all proper things which have been checked. So as an auditor, I systematically go about examining things in a logical sequence. I go logical sequence, systematic logical sequence of doing the things, and independent examination of data, statements, records, operations, and performances. Oh my God. So you are not only doing the audit of financial info. My earlier definition said only financial info. My second definition tells me it is a systematic and independent examination of drops, data, records, operations, performances, and statements. So if I compared with the original definition, it only said independent. Here I'm saying systematic also. Then I only said of financial info. Here I'm saying of drops, means 5 things you're examining. What are the 5 things? Could be data. Yes, your accounting data would be there. Your accounting policies would be there. Records will be the accounting records. Your books of accounts, right? Operations are there. What are operations you have? Operations would be your business related operations, right? What all? Sales, purchases, your inventory related, right? All of it will be coming. Performances is your basically your profit and loss, right? Your performance for the period is the way you have performed, as in your profit or loss, your expenditure, etc. And statements is what? Your financial statement, balance sheet, P&L, your cash flow, etc. So see now the definition. I have gone one step ahead. I am not saying it's only independent. I'm saying systematic and independent. I'm not saying only financial info. I'm saying drops. So that includes all the things which are there. Okay. So you are going to be checking drops. But the question is, why are you checking drops? Okay. You are checking drops for your stated purpose. For a stated purpose. Now the purpose could be giving an opinion. So they don't say that's only for giving an opinion. Your purpose could be anything. Now you are doing audit for anything. For example, now you are doing a forensic audit. You know, forensic audit is where some fraud has happened, and now the auditor wants to find out about the fraud, wants to find out the people who have done the fraud. So he's not going to give an opinion here that in my opinion maybe Mr. P, Mr. Q has done the fraud. No, he has to give the facts here. He will have to give this purpose of this forensic audit is finding the fraud and finding the people behind the fraud. So your purpose changed. Normal financial audit give an opinion, I know that, but there could be different types of audits now. Internal audit is there. Now in internal audit, what is your aim? In internal audit, your aim is, now stated purpose is going to be what? Now your stated purpose is going to be finding out the system is working properly. What is internal audit? Checking the internal control system. What is internal control system? Right now it is just a system that a business follows. Okay, now very simple example to take here. You go to a shopping mall. When you go to a shopping mall to do shopping, will you just enter directly inside, right? Can you just pick up anything and walk out of the mall? No, there is a system that you follow. First you will keep your baggage outside, you will take a token from them, then you will be going inside, you will be doing shopping, then the cashier will be doing all the scanning, and then they will be doing the billing. There's a procedure that you follow. Then when you exit, again a security guy will be there who will be checking whether you have made the billing and payment properly. So the system that you followed is the internal control system. We have a full chapter on this, but the words are going to be coming. Remember, first few days you're only going to be learning the words, learning the language. Okay, so in internal audit, your purpose would be checking the system is being followed, where are the weaknesses in the system, and improving the system. Purpose has changed. Forensic audit purpose has changed. Okay, now it could be anything now. Audit is so many types of audit. Now you can audit anything. Okay, we are stuck as chartered accountants. Our main audit we think is always financial audit. Okay, or financial statements. That is our main audit, and no doubt that is the main audit. But there are other types of audit like internal audit, systems audit. Okay, we have got forensic audit, we have got stock audit, we have got GST audit, we have got tax audit, we have got maybe new types of environmental audit is also there. Okay, we have got what do you call it, energy audit. Are you consuming a lot of energy? Are you wasting energy? You have audits for that as well. We have got something called structural audit. Structural audit, I'll tell you a very simple example. A few years ago, there was a bomb blast in German bakery, which was in Pune. Okay, and German bakery, the bomb blast which happened, that blast which had happened, obviously there was a loss of property, loss of a few lives there, and the German bakery, that bakery had asked the corporation that please give us compensation, government to give compensation because of this. Now I'll tell you what had happened there. Pay attention. Now this German bakery, okay, it's like a kind of a shop, you can say. So the bakery is the main shop here, and outside they had got a few tables where people used to sit. Okay, so that was the way it was. So this bomb was placed somewhere here in that area, which was the open area. And actually, when you will see the what do you call it, the bakery's structure, as per the sanctioned thing from the government, the bakery has only got like authorization only till the shop. So inside the shop you could sit, but outside the shop, in our country sometimes there is space outside the shop, so we just extend there, and we give little money here and there, bribes, and we just carry on the business, right? But it's not authorized. So this was the case here. So because of that, what happened was, when the bomb got blasted there, that was an unauthorized part of that bakery, or that that place. So in that case, there was an audit which was done, which is called structural audit, to understand the structure of this thing, and that this is unauthorized part of the structure, and therefore there was no compensation paid. Reason is very simple. We cannot encourage something illegal now by doing this. Okay, so structural audit. So what is your thing now? Structural audit is a totally different type of audit. Suppose there's a flyover which has got collapsed, a building got collapsed, right? Again, a structural audit will be done where engineers will be coming and checking out why this building collapsed. Whose mistake was this? So audit can be of different forms and different things. And second definition takes care of it. It is not a narrow definition which says only financial info. No, it talks about all these things. Okay, so for a stated purpose. Then what happens in this auditing situation? Okay, now I hope you're writing with me. This you write in your notebooks. It is there marked over there. We'll mark it also, but you write it also. In any auditing situation, Auditor recognizes the propositions. Propositions. He collects the evidence. Evidence means what? Collects proof. Proposition means what? The statements, the facts. Understand what you have to do audit, right? What is the exact main aim of you for doing the audit? Understand the proposition, the facts, the circumstances. Then you collect the evidences. Evidences means proof you collect. Okay. So someone says, yes, I have spent 100 crores on advertisement. Show me the proof now. 100 crores I've spent on advertisement. You will be having some bill, something has to be there. You can't just say something, right? You should have some backing for it. So collects the evidences, evaluates them. Evaluates means checks them. Forms his judgment. And what does he do by forming his judgment? Will you just keep the judgment in your mind? Yes, I formed an opinion, keep it here. No, you have to tell it. Okay, and this forms his judgment and communicates through audit report. Did you understand now this definition? Right? So you are talking one step ahead. One nahi, 4-5 steps ahead. Okay. First you said systematic independent check of drops. Then you said for a stated purpose. Correct or no? Purpose could be anything. Depends on the type of audit. Then what you do? You recognize the propositions. You understand what you have to do. Then you collect evidences. Then based on the evidence you evaluate them. You check those evidences. Are they proper or no? You might get a bill, but the bill is in someone else's name, not your client's name. That means he's booking someone else's expenditure. Not acceptable. Now you have to evaluate that evidence. And lastly, form your judgment. This judgment which you will communicate through an audit report. So this definition of auditing is definitely ahead of your normal definition. Okay. So please go through this definition once. Evaluates means checks, huh? So I hope you're clear with this, right? So now this was my second definition of audit. Let us see. What is it? A systematic independent examination of drops for a specific purpose, right? You recognize the propositions, you collect evidence, you evaluate it, form your judgment, communicate through an audit report. So this is what you have. Now, honestly speaking, the first definition you might have to learn it. Second definition you have to go logical in the sequence. Okay, how do you go about it? I told you can't memorize each and everything. Okay, first definition you memorize because it's the first one. It is a basic definition. But second one you understand the steps. Okay, because small things you can memorize, but very big things, which is like such a big thing, how can you memorize each and every word? You better understand the sequence, the logic, so you will get it the best. So how will I go about it? Let's see. Auditing is a systematic and independent. You have to repeat with me. Even if you're not in front of me right now, I will be in front of you when you will be seeing the lecture, right? So you have to say it. Okay. Auditing is a systematic and independent examination of drops. Drops, data, financial, non-financial board data, records, your accounting records mainly. O is your operations, P is your performances, and S is your statement. So drops for a stated purpose. So what you do in audit? First you recognize the propositions in front of you. Then you collect evidences. Then you evaluate these evidences. Based on evaluation of evidences, you form a judgment. And what to do with that judgment? You communicate it through an audit report. Okay. So it is a systematic independent examination of drops. In any auditing situation, auditor recognizes the propositions before him, collects evidence, evaluates the evidence, based on that forms his judgment, and then communicates it through an audit report. Okay, so go in sequence. And now, after doing more definitions, we see 3 points are common in the definitions. The 3 points which we already have learned. What are 3 points we learned? The important elements of audit. What are they? Independence, IAF, independence, auditor's opinion, and F, financial statements. So these are the key points I have: independence, opinion, and FS. So you have discussed each and every one of them now. So I'm very sure now you have understood the definition of auditing properly. Not just learnt it, but understood it properly. Okay. Now comes the next part. The person doing the audit must ensure that the FS should not be misleading. Okay. So how will the auditor ensure that the FS is not misleading? See, what is your final destination? The final destination is your financial statements. But to reach the destination, FS, there are lots of steps to which the FS comes. Do you know the accounting cycle? See now how I get linked with accounts. Accounting cycle you learnt in basics of accounts, right? How is the accounting cycle? Like, what is the first thing that happens in accounts? The first thing is some transaction occurs. Okay, listen carefully now. See how you're going to build the answer. Okay, so this diagram, in fact, which you have here, okay, this is your picture, is a hint. Your accounting cycle, that is. Okay, so in accounting cycle, what do you see? The first thing we have is we have some transactions. Okay, now these transactions are the first thing. Okay, I'll write it here. In your notebook, write down. This is auditor should satisfy himself. Write down the heading. Auditor should satisfy himself about the following so that FS is not misleading. FS means financial statements are not misleading. So what all is auditor going to check? This question has come in your exam, so you should better concentrate on this. Check the following to ensure FS is not misleading. Okay? Even what you have written is fine. So now what are you going to check? First thing which happens is you are having some transaction which takes place, right? When transaction takes place, you are going to account for it, right? You are going to account for it based on some kind of evidence of that transaction. So if someone says, okay, I have traveled, you'll say, okay, fine, you have traveled. Now this is a transaction you have spent on traveling. Transaction, show me the bills. Someone says, I purchased something. Okay, fine. Purchase is a transaction. Show me the bill of purchase, right? So this is what auditor will have to check. So first step that we have is transaction. Okay. So one, the transaction or the entries you will have to see. Okay. These transaction or entries will be entered in the books. Okay. So there is going to be accounting entry. This is like my accounting cycle. So once entries are passed, what will happen once entries we will have to check where the entries are passed. Are they properly passed in the books of accounts? Then based on your books of accounts and the ledger accounts that you have made, the accounts will be drawn up. Accounts will be drawn up means what? It's like your trial balance which is being drawn up. Okay, so trial balance. So what has happened? First transaction occurred, transaction is entered in the books. Which books is it entered? And then based on those books which it is entered, your accounts will be drawn up. Okay. After accounts are drawn up, then the statements will be giving the information. Statements giving clear information. Which information? Accounting information. Okay, so then your accounting information is properly given. Where is your accounting information given? Through the financial statement. So now I come to the final point. Financial statements. What I have presented here is simply your, the whole accounting cycle. Starts with transaction. From transaction, proper entries, when entries are properly in the books of accounts, from which proper accounts are drawn up. From the accounts, proper statements will be made which are giving proper information. The accounting information will be given through your financial statements. Auditor does not give opinion on all these things. Auditor gives opinion on this. Opinion on this I give. But right, if you're giving an opinion on the FS has been made only with all these things behind. So obviously all of this should be checked, and then only I can say that FS is showing a true and fair view. So this is my accounting cycle. Now what am I going to check in this is what is my next point. So in transactions and entries, auditor has to check, are they supported by sufficient, appropriate audit evidence, which I'm going to use short form from now onwards, SAAE. Are the entries supported by sufficient, appropriate audit evidence? See, you will not 100% understand what is sufficient, appropriate today itself. We have to learn it. It's a big discussion of almost 1 hour we are going to have in chapter number 3. But today what you need to understand is that entries should be supported by proper audit evidence, right? There should be proper proof which is there for the entries. Evidence means what? Proof. Sufficient is a measure of quantity of evidence. Proper quantity, and appropriate is a measure of quality of evidence. So I would need quantity, qualitative, proper evidence in support of the entries. So in entries, what will auditor check? The blue part is your accounting cycle. This is like your accounting cycle. This is just for you to understand. And this is your what auditor is checking. So auditor will be checking whether events, transactions, whatever entries have got proper evidence backing it. Proper entries are passed, right? There is no omissions and there are no bogus entries. Something is not missed out. Something is not done extra also. So what has happened is what you show. So proper entry is passed. There is no bogus element. There is no omission in the entries. Books of accounts and accounts drawn up are maintained properly. Okay. These just simply properly. So books of accounts maintained properly, accounts drawn up properly, you will be seeing. Then the statement should give clear information. Which information? Clear information. Clear information means what? Information means auditor will have to check that the accounting information is properly classified, presented, and disclosed. Classified, presented, and disclosed properly. as per your accounting standards. You know your accounting standards in accounts you have learnt. Some accounting standards deal with the accounting part of it. Some of deal with the presentation, how you're going to make. Some of them deal with disclosure, like AS1 is disclosure of accounting policies. So you have to check that the accounting information is properly classified, presented, disclosed. Okay. As per what? As per accounting standard, because accounting standards gives you this only, na? Okay. And lastly, that the financial statements give a true and fair view. True and fair view of what? Of your financial position and of your performance and your operational results. Operational results means we are going to be checking your P&L here. Like what is the results, what is the profit you have made, and financial position means we'll be checking your balance sheet here. So true and fair view of the balance sheet, that is a financial position on date, and the operational results, which is your profit loss. Okay, so that's how the thing will be, give a true and fair view of. So now these are the points which you have. Okay, almost you have got like these 7 odd points. In these points, now how will we try to understand? We will understand them with the help of the logical sequence. Once you get the logical sequence, you don't have to learn the points, you will get it automatically. Link it with your accounts. So this is how we will be checking. To ensure that FS is not misleading, you have to check all these things. So let's go about it again. First starts with transaction. In transaction and entries, what will I see? Is it supported by evidence? Then are all the entries passed? No omissions, no bogus entries. Okay. Where are the entries passed? Proper books are maintained. From books, what is drawn? Accounts are drawn up. From your accounts, what is there? Your trial balance, your statements are drawn up. Your statements should be giving what? Proper accounting info. Info means what will be given in that? Information about the things that properly accounted, classified, presented, disclosed as per accounting standards. Okay. Classified, accounted also you can say. Presented, described, disclosed as per your accounting standards. And lastly, from your accounting info, what is the final thing? That's going to be, you're going to sign on the notes, the balance sheet, the P&L, I mean the main financial statement. So in that case, FS should be showing a true and fair view of your financial position, that is your balance sheet, and operational results, that is your P&L. So that is how you will check the things. So I hope you're done. So let us see the points which are there in the notes. Here it goes. Firstly, accounts are properly drawn up as per entries in the books. Your entries are supported by SAE, sufficient appropriate audit evidence. No entries are omitted, no entries are fictitious. Fictitious means bogus entries. There is no sale but still you're showing a sale, right? Omission, there is a sale but you're not showing that sale. Omission, or something of that sort. Any of these things not allowed. Okay, they clearly give the information, statements give the info, properly classified, described as per AS. Okay, and lastly, the FS shows a true and fair view of your results and the assets and liabilities. You know, results will be your P&L, whereas assets and liabilities means you're talking of your balance sheet. So through your accounting cycle, we got this answer. So now, what we learned till now is nothing but the definition of audit, the main definition. This is extra definition I've given you. Extra, if asked, only give it. If asked. So if they ask you specifically, define auditing, only define auditing, 5-mark question. So you can't just write one sentence. Now then you have to write this also. But if they ask you like the definition, meaning, everything of audit, then you have to write this whole thing. Second definition depends on the weightage to the question. If weightage is more, you have to give it. Otherwise, 4 marks you don't have to give, because 4 marks you have the main definition. You have got IF points, right? Then you have got this. FS should not be misleading. If they ask you then that, then this also can be the case. So depends on what is asked and the weightage. So I hope this is clear. Meaning, definition of audit. Now, before I get into the objectives of audit, we just saw what is the financial statements comprising of. So financial statements we learnt, section 2 subsection 40 comprising of these things. Now comes the question, who uses the FS? For whom am I doing the audit? Right? I do the audit mainly for the person who appoints me. So when I talk about a company form of organization, who appoints me as an auditor? Who appoints me? The shareholders appoint me. So I am doing the audit for the shareholders, from the angle of the shareholders. But the question is, who else uses these FS, right? When I sign on the financials, it's not only the owners or only the shareholders who will be seeing it. These financial statements will also be used by other people. So who are the users of FS? So basically we have got some internal users and we have got some external users. Okay, and these internal external users, all of them use FS. You have learnt about these people in your accounts also. So let's start. Who are the internal users? Internally, who are going to use it? Okay, one is going to be obviously my owners who are there going to use it. The management to manage the affairs, they are going to use it, correct? If financial statements are made, owners would want to know whether the profits are there or no. Management wants to know whether they are managing properly. Owners want to know whether management is managing properly. We need to check that. Similarly, we would be having investors who are the market people. Okay, they would want to see whether you want to buy, don't want to buy in the company. Okay, by the way, investor is an external person. Okay, because he is deciding whether to buy, whether not to buy. So the party who is there, and logically once you know which parties use FS, the purpose and the requirement you will automatically come to know. So as an investor, what will be my purpose? I want to decide whether I want to buy shares in this company, I want to sell shares, or whatever I want to do with the investment. Okay, so then that they are also going to use it. Then one more internal person I have who uses is my employees. Why do employees need the audited financial statements? Because employees would want to know how much they can bargain for more salary. Employees would want to know, are they getting proper bonuses and all. So many employees like managers and all, get the remuneration linked to profit. So they would want to know whether they are getting proper. So then workers, employees can come to know through the audited FS that yes, these are the profits earned and this is what we are getting salary or bonus. Can we negotiate for more? That all they will come to know. So they are using it for that reason. Okay. So users of FS mainly internal is the owners, the management and the employees. External, now who all use it? So one, we said investors in the market, stock market, you want to buy, you want to sell the shares, then that they will be using. Then we have got something called credit rating agencies. I'm sure you have heard of credit rating agencies. Like you might have heard of CRISIL, of ICRA. They give grades to the companies. Okay, grades according to the credit rating. So if a company is getting AA, like A, okay, that means A grade is like the high grade. So they are very credit worthy people. Okay, they are meeting all their commitments and making all their payments in time. Then they will be getting that. So the credit rating agencies, how will they give the credit rating? They will have to see credit worthiness. Like, is the company paying in time? What are they doing about their loans and liabilities? So then they will also need the financial statements. Then bankers, why will they need? You go to the bank, you want a loan, you go to the bank, I want a loan. Will bank give you loan just like that standing there? No. Bank will say, I will need your financial statements, I would want your last 3 years profits, your balance sheet, and they will analyze it and they will decide whether to give you loan. So banks are this, whether to lend money or not, the reason they need financials. Then we have the creditors and customers. Now you will be thinking, why creditors and customers? See, creditors, though I understand, the creditors have given me credit, so they want to know whether they can recover the money properly. Company is doing strong, so they don't have fear, na, they will get their money. Okay, but if you see company is already in problems, they are almost on the verge of insolvency, then creditors will come to know and they would want to demand their money. So creditors will need for that reason. I understand. But why customers would need financial statements? Think, customer, simple example. Today you go to buy a refrigerator in the market, okay? A refrigerator, and you see you like a model of Whirlpool, okay? Refrigerator, and you want to buy that. On the other hand, you have another company which is new company, okay? They're giving you more warranty, lower rate is there, okay? The price is lesser, but still you will give it a thought. You will think, no, yeah, this company is a well-established company. I know about Whirlpool. I know that this company will be there. If they're giving me 10 years warranty, I know 10 years they will be there. But this new company, even if it is lesser, you would not be. You have not checked the financial statements, but the name, the goodwill makes a difference, no? So then that's why a customer would want to know, like, will this person be there tomorrow if I need? Okay, so that's why they need the FS. Government will need, why? To see that you're paying in time, your taxes are being paid or not. Government will also need the FS to give you help if you need. Help. Help means what? Like government grants, etc. will be there. Licenses are to be given. Government will need your financials, right? So if it's a sick company, sick companies, government helps them. So how will they come to know that company is sick? When a CA will sign it, when the FS will be audited, when the financial statements will be checked, then government will say, this is a loss-making company, sick company needs my help, right? So government also is one of the users of FS. And then we have these financial analysts. So you have seen the CNBC channel, where we have these analysts who are on the mic and you should buy this share, this is what, these are the profit, these are the quarterly results. How are they talking about all this? They are also using the financial statements now. So all of them are using the financial statements, and they are going to tell you about, they are going to use the financial statements. Internal, external, we have people, okay? So around 10 people we are having who are going to be using your FS. So then let's quickly have a small memory technique to remember these points. Okay, so users of FS, you can write here itself, or you can write it in your notebook. OCC CBI game. OCC CBI game. These are the users of FS. So first is O. O stands for, I'm sure you guessed it right, owners, creditors, customers, credit rating agencies, banks, investors, government, analyst, management, and E, employees. So OCC CBI game. That's it. Okay. So today we have learned the very, very basics of audit. Today's lecture, our concepts were not so many because we had the introduction part of what is our subject all about, how we are going to be learning it. So today we have just learned mainly 4 things. What are the 4 things we learned today? First thing we learned. First thing, the meaning definition of audit. The main definition and the second extra definition. First thing. Second thing we learned was how do we ensure ensure what? That the FS are not misleading. What all things we have to check. So there we use the accounting cycle to see this. Third, we learned what comes in financial statements. What is financial statement comprising of 5 things we learned. And lastly, we learned this part. 10 points of what? Who are the users of financial statements. Okay. So very easy part today, was a very, very basic lecture. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you understood it. But before concluding, we will quickly revise what all we learned today. First, definition of audit. What do we see in definition of audit? Auditing is an independent examination of financial information of any entity, whether profit oriented or not, irrespective of its size or legal form. Just a minute, I will show this to you in the form of a presentation, so that will help you to retain better. Okay, whatever we learned, let's quickly revise it. Okay, so nature, objective and scope of audit. The first thing we learned was our history of auditing. Auditing is derived from the Latin word audire, which means to year. Correct? What was the history of auditing? What was the story I told you about audit? There used to be this kingdom time when there used to be a king. Then the king, there used to be the whole kingdom which used to come for the meeting. There used to be one person who used to shout the accounts loudly, right? And there would be one person who would be listening to all this. The one who was listening to all this would be the auditor, right? So based on listening is to form his opinion, he was called the auditor. Then next is my definition of audit. What is my definition of audit? Auditing is an independent examination of financial information of any entity, whether profit oriented or not. Please repeat with me. I can't see you, but you can see me now. You repeat. Of any entity, whether profit oriented or not, and irrespective of its size or legal form. It could be a big entity, small entity, profit oriented, non profit oriented, does not matter. Irrespective of its size or legal form, when it is done with a view to express an opinion. Opinion on what? True and fair view. I remember, give only an opinion. I don't give facts. I give opinion. According to me, what I feel. As a chartered accountant, what I feel about it. Then, my next definition of auditing. What is my next definition? It is a systematic and independent examination of drops. What was drops? Data, records, operations, performances and statements. For a stated purpose. It is for some purpose now that you're doing the audit. Right? In that audit, what will I do? First, I will recognize the propositions, right? Based on what I have to do the work, I will be collecting the evidences. On those evidences, I'll be evaluating, checking those evidences and forming my judgment. Okay, collects evidence and evaluates them. And forms his judgment, which is communicated through an audit report. Correct or no? So this is what you have your definition of audit. This is what we learned. Then we learned about your elements in audit. 3 important elements: IAF, independence, auditor's opinion and financial statements. Then we learned about what all comes in financial statements: balance sheet, SOPL, cash flow statement, your notes to accounts. All this is your accounts, huh? Right? And lastly, your statement of changes in equity. Okay, fair enough. And we also saw the users of FS. Who are the users? See the picture and try to guess who is this going to be. Management, owners, investors. This is the very clear. Bank, correct? So these are the users of FS. Okay. Then we also have some more. Who is this? Who is giving some money to the company? Creditor, correct? Who are these? Shopping, customers, and see the ones who are working so hard, right? Under the boss. employees. So these are your users of FS. Then we go next. Of course, this you have guessed. Government, we have with the mic, buy the share, profit going up, going down, financial analyst, and lastly we have got our credit rating agencies. You have got CRISIL, ICRA, okay, S&P, we have CARE, CIBIL. CIBIL is not exactly that, but no problem. All these are the users of FS. Okay, so these are your users. And one more thing we learned, that was your where is it? The accounting cycle. Accounts is not misleading. How will the auditor find out or come to know that? He will come to know that when he will be checking these things, right? So this is what we have. This is very important, huh? What we are doing. It's not misleading, you have to check, right? So for that, here it comes. Firstly, what will we see? The proper entries are there, supported by proper evidences. Then entries are passed properly. There's no omissions, no bogus entries. Entries based on the entries, proper books of accounts are in the proper books of accounts. Then accounts are drawn up. These can be combined points. Huh? These two can be combined also, no problem. Then the statements show clear information. And what information are we talking about? Properly classified, presented, and disclosed, correct? So all of it will be there. And finally, the financial statement should give a true and fair view. This is what you have to check to see that the accounts are not misleading. So I hope you understood. Okay, so this is what we learned today. And yes, OCC CBI game, the 10 users of FS. Today's homework, simply revise what all we have learned. Just 4 to 5 small concepts. Okay, that's all for the day. See you tomorrow. Bye bye. Keep smiling.